Okay, so this little video is going to be made for the new feature, one of the new features of DMA 9.0 that we covered during the slide deck. It is called point-to-point to MCU escalation. Kind of an odd name, but basically it's dealing with an escalation of point-to-point call to an MCU. So in the DMA 9.0 guides for looking that escalation process up, it's all tailored around a chapter called SIP conference factories. So as you know, it takes or requires DMA 9.0, but it also is going to require group series 6.2 at this point. I think that's the only codec that's supporting this, but 6.2 group series in its release notes, which is not out at the time of this video. Maybe during our presentation the first week of October, 6.2 might be in beta, but there's a chapter called RMX call escalation within the release notes. So we have that. This is a new feature that was kind of to keep up with Cisco. And this is working specifically for SIP calls. So SIP calls escalation from a point-to-point to MCU conference call. So let's get started. So as I mentioned, we have DMA 9.0. This one here is a brand new configuration, nothing new with it at all. We had used it with the previous video for doing supercluster. Again, no special configuration. We just superclustered them, then unclustered them. So this is standing by with no real configuration at all. So it's just a 50-seat box. It's this DMA 169 that we'll be working with. I also have 3 group series in here that's going to be running a dev build of 6.2. Again, by the time we see this video, there should be possibly a group series 6.2 beta software out at that time. So you'll look for something newer than this to use. So we've got 3 group series that we'll be testing with, and this DMA, as well as we're going to use an RMX. My RMX that I had noted that these features had actually worked with was with a build 8.7.5. So the GA 8.7.4 was used previously and nothing was working. I upgraded 8.7.5 and it all works. So it may be another requirement. Right now, I'm not seeing those requirements called out anywhere, so that's why we're doing this video. So let's get our group series configured and pointed on over to our new gatekeeper. So here we have group series 1 pointing to our gatekeeper for both the SIP and 323 areas. So the new feature with the 6.2 on all of these codecs, you'll see it's right here. It's this ad hoc call escalation. This feature will work with SIP is registered with Polycom DMA. So we want to enable it, and the default profile or the SIP conference factory that we'll have, and we'll point this out in the release notes as well, or the release notes, the DMA guide. It is in the system as PLCM-SCF. I think SIP conference factory is at the last section. So we're going to go ahead and just enable it now, just to have it here and up and working. So this is codec number 1 done. Let's work on number 2. enable. And codec number 3. Okay, so with all of those registered or registering to our DMA, we should be able to see within here monitoring endpoints. We have activity, so this is great. Currently, we do not have the RMX in there. We'll add that here in a minute. So. What we want to do is we want to come to service config, conference manager settings, and come to SIP conference factory. So here's that default one. That's why you saw me type in PLCM, etc. I was testing with something else. I had created 555, so that's why you saw that previous value in there before I said it. But this is the default value. This will show you the information in the guide as well of what this is. Basically, there's the factory ID, description. If you had multiple factory conference templates here, you could pick and choose from. We'll just go ahead and enable all these, but it doesn't require you to actually have them enabled. It'll just use the default if it's grayed out. So we'll go ahead and just select it and hit OK. Okay, so then we'll have the MCU. We'll go ahead and take the opportunity to point the MCU on over here. In my other window, I have RMX Manager opened up. I'm just going to go ahead and drill into the IP network service, as you'll see here. And for our gatekeeper, I'm just going to go ahead and specify our DMA. Enable our SIP server. Of course, your other values that you'd want to populate, you can put on in there at the time. So just go ahead and reboot this and let this come on up. So this is the standard restart because you changed the network services for the RMX. So let's watch this for a second, and we'll move forward with our configs. Okay, it's been a couple of minutes here for doing a reboot cycle. I went ahead and I just tried to add in the MCU management information here. So let's see where we are here. So, it's booting up. And again, for the SIP conference factories themselves, I mean, you've got your conference templates that you're going to use, and as well as you've got MCU pool orders. Right now, we're just keeping everything simple. We got one MCU, one DMA, etc. But the more advanced you get, such as SOAP, you may have multiple RMXs, etc. So you may want different pool orders for doing any kind of escalation calls, or maybe you want a dedicated MCU for SIP that's going to have this conference factory on it that's going to only be in a specific pool, etc. So that's all custom configurable by, what they need. So check our endpoints, still all good here. Bridge appears to be normal within RMX Manager, so let's see what we got. Okay, this is just a RPCS VM at the single IP address. We've got SIP 323 on here, waiting for this to just clear. I'm sure it's fine. We've got nothing on the bridge right now, so. So again, back to service config, we have that SIP configuration, SIP conference factories configuration area, which we had this. We basically just enabled it and put in those items. The other area for the config is the dial plan here within the system. We have this third dial plan, dial to a SIP conference factory. This one is not on by default, so you want to go ahead and enable it at this point. Basically, these items, you can all be left blank. I don't foresee any reason we need this in there right at the moment, but just enabling itself should be fine at this point. So the dial rule and that SIP conference factory is really what's required there. So. Okay, so we'll go ahead and try to place a call and see what we get done. So from the NeoLab 2, we're going to call BPGS1 in a SIP call, and go ahead and hit call. I hear it ringing in the background, so we have call statistics. We've got a SIP call, 1024. Everything looks good. Now, we could either actually add another call from this system or have another system call BPGS1 or this particular GS2 ATX. But we'll just go ahead and call out to our other group series.
You are the first person to join the conference.
And you can see, I'll go ahead and minimize this a little bit. You'll see on the RMX Manager how we actually have a conference escalated here. It's, shows our 3 endpoints, 6.2 group series devices, all at SIP connections that's actually connected here. Now I'd noticed that if my second call was here and I placed it using 323 or forgot to select SIP, of course the call will not escalate because they all need to be SIP, but it did bring them in because I have internal MCU features or an options on my codec. So this is basically the new feature of point-to-point to MCU escalation, and it's to keep up with Cisco, and that's what we have. So you can go ahead and hang up here. We'll see calls drop. There's one down. Another one down. And the last one. Again, I hope you enjoyed working with DMA 9.0 new feature of point-to-point to MCU escalation. And we'll go ahead and get this video aired during the shindig we have going on October 1st of 2017 in Andover. So look forward to seeing you guys there. Thank you very much. Take care. Have a great day.